to be able to hold on to that operator. Doesn't get through that teleporter. A bit more safety. Secured, but he's right after him. Okay.
Yoru overrated. Chamber outdated. Long healthily waited. Hukar's activated. There you go.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for having me. Cheers.
They've given it to him. Okay, better than nothing. Finds another kill.
Oh, this becomes doable.
Right in front of him. And now he's got a weapon to work with, but no, he doesn't pick it up. Instead, he pushes forward.
Oh my
finds
God.
another. Destruction! For destructive right now, but if he moves into the dark cover right away, he turns round to win!
What?
Goodness me, this just didn't happen!
I need a breather. That was
Seriously.
unbelievable.
He's shed now, going to try and go aggressive, walk straight to the crosshair. Chihuahua, good for 2, looking for 3, which he delivers. You didn't need to question him, he comes online brilliantly. We were waiting for the Chihuahua show, and there it is.
But I do want to give a shout out to Chihuahua. I think he is a pain in the ass to face. I'm guessing he's sitting in a dark room because I don't know, man. Like, he is zoned in. Like,
In for another, Sopma comes in for support. Platitech a double, spraying away. Hang on a second, I counted them out, but now it's a 1 versus 1 against Vicious. He's got a fair amount of HP to work with. Outland will come on board as well. 2 versus 1, and he manages to clutch it out. Platitech, a quad clutch at XL. See out their opponent's map pick, and what a story that is. But then to close it out, I counted them out. I sat back in my chair. I was like, hey, oh, this one's done. No,
Can I say one last thing? I gotta say, I feel really bad for Finest. We're gonna play them after Heat. And yeah, as I just said, I just feel so bad. Because we're gonna kill Kicks. We're just gonna see where he is. We're gonna kill him. And they're gonna play 4v5 permanently.
A few moments later.
Here is the aggression we see from Finest.
All the way through mid. Yassine fully blind. Takes down Lucky. Net, it's Robbie versus the world. Do you have any choice words for them after that one?
You troll around sometimes, you know, saying they're gonna lose, but at the end of the day, you know, they were really great teammates, and I played with them for months, and it was really enjoyable. And I mean, at the end of the day, we are friends. No bad feelings towards them.
That was a really, really wholesome answer. Thank you.
Hello, it's me, Patryk Pajtek-Fabrowski. I'm a second duelist and flasher for Team Excel.
Hello, my name is FoxyGG and I gel for Excel.
I think definitely my clutch versus Kova, the one before I pulled off. I think that was like personally my favorite moment. But I think like besides that, the finals game, because we got a lot out of it and we fixed a lot of mistakes based off of that match, so it really helped us.
On my team, I would have to say like Petitech. I think he's done an amazing job. He was the person I least expected from, like, because I already knew he was good, so, but yeah, he's definitely done more than what I thought he was capable of.
My MVP would be my teammate Alive. I think like he's the best player in the league, but not in the league. I would say like he's close to be like the best upcoming talent.
A real IGL, a good coach, just a good team structure in general. The way in which we work, the way we practice, the way everything we do really is just probably a lot more professional than the rest of the league.
Our coaching staff is amazing, and I think they're like the best in the league, and if not the best in the world, I would say. I think just because we're the strongest team, like everyone from our team thinks we're the strongest team, and I think we've shown some of that in stage 2. Hopefully we can show it in playoffs and be even better than we are right now.
Wow, it's still there, rolling something in this, but no one checks front!
This position, they can hold his crossfire. That's the fall line. Oh no! The collateral double kill! Spray down not available for him. Flash drive looking at punish it. Kicks gets 2! It's Alex to come up alive again. Ooh, the shot that Paddy touches, but does he expect the upper angle? He does not!
Hello, everyone. Long have we waited. 2 months, if not more, in the making for this specific matchup. The finals of playoff stage 2 Polaris. And oh my, we're in for a treat to say the least. We have Excel, the previous Pathfinders, versus Finest, who very clearly state that they're looking for revenge We've already seen this movie twice before. Once it went in favor of Finest, and yesterday it went in favor of Excel. Quick 2-0 for them, to be completely honest. I'm Janiro, your host for today. On the desk with me, we have Analyst MP. We have Pavlos as well. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
You had the pleasure of casting the last game, Finest against Hookars.
I did, and I'm so glad that Finest looked completely different than they did yesterday, because this was a completely different image of Finest. They were determined, they had clear-cut decisions, there was not much lingering, and Yassine was online. Everything that we wanted Finest to achieve, they did. And this builds them up to be on their best form for the Grand Finals.
Yeah, absolutely. They were going fast, really fast-paced rounds, especially on attacking side. I think that was really good against Hookars, but we are going against Excel now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really tough. Excel is definitely one of those teams that can adapt really, really fast. And even though Alive is on that chamber and you might have that KO for Finest, it's not gonna be that easy denying that chamber. I think David had hard time playing around the KO, but I think at this level, Alive is just so good. Also, the teammates supporting Alive on those first picks. I think it's going to be really, really tough for Finest, but they showed some good stuff.
Yeah, Excel, they haven't even dropped a map yet here at playoffs. They even have a map advantage coming into this, and their playstyle so far this weekend has been absolutely incredible. The clutches coming out, just these players individually so talented, but as a whole, they're deadly.
Yeah, absolutely. They are so good as coordination. Everything is working with this team. We saw a few clips on Icebox. I even shown a replay from there. The utility that they have is so good. Even though when they're playing like default, like this kind of freestyle play, it's so good. The utility, even though it's not prepped, it's insanely good.
The reason why it's insanely good is because whenever any of their players is stuck in a 1vx, you can expect Excel to have a solid chance to come out of it on top. When do you ever expect that, right? You've got the clutch factor of Chihuahua. You've got Mo, the lawnmower, and every single one of the rest, like Paddytech Alive and Foxy, all have that potential, which makes this team deadly, whatever role they have.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we were coming into these playoffs, from group stage, Excel was so good playing as a team. They had so good cast, kill, assist, survive, and trade ratio. 11 of those players on Excel, or all of those Excel players were in top 11, which is crazy in kill, assist, and survive and trade like this stat. I don't think I have seen any other team do this.
Yeah, their team that they're up against, however, is gonna be Finest, but Excel, they want to prove themselves to be the Pathfinder. There's one more hurdle in their way, and that is Finest. Their roster, as we said, individually good players. A couple of question marks earlier this weekend because of their communication, but Pavlos seems like they're reeling it right back in.
They really are. Decision-making, that's what they've lacklustered. They were very, very weak on those mid-round calls and macro plays. And today it will look completely different. We can see a lot of the highlights on the board. They themselves have a lot of heavy hitters, and I think what we've shown out and what has been a big narrative around this team is that they very much rely on Yassine's success, right?
Yeah.
Bronca, he's a decent IGL, not gonna lie. He's done a good job with his team, but it feels like together with Yassine, with the background that they have, they kind of share the same idea of where if they're not feeling great, the rest of the team seem to be taking on that aura, and essentially when they don't feel good, the rest of the team falls flat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Finest, when they're looking in these attacking side rounds, they definitely need to go for those fast pushes, but sometimes they have to switch that tempo as well. We didn't really see that much tempo switching in the Hookars match. On that match, they probably didn't need to. They worked really good with that fast tempo. Hookars couldn't do anything. They just switched up the sides that they played. But I think coming against Excel, you cannot really go with that fast pace. Obviously, Finest, they are kind of one of these teams that their win condition is you have to go to the side, get the entries, and get the plant down. And after that, you're looking good. But Excel, last time they faced against Finest, actually 20 out of 26 rounds came from pre-planned kills. And that's insane. That's 75%. You just go and kill these players, and 15 out of those were on attacking side as well.
Yeah, it seems that Finest have a very specific way of playing, and it also looks like Bonkar has a friendship with a certain weapon.
Yeah. Just for reference, 10 out of 12 rounds on the defensive on Bind, Bonka picked up the judge. 10 out of 12 rounds. Where do we ever see that in pro play?
Polaris,
Where?
obviously, it's Polaris. Like, what can you expect? This is just the region where, I guess, best friends with the judge. I guess that's, you know, that's what it is.
Yeah, I think he has literally watched Link VODs. I mean, 10 rounds, and one of those you cannot even buy the judge. It's the pistol round, so almost every round he was buying the judge. I think it's good for your economy or for your teammates' economy, but still, if you're not getting value, obviously Bunker this time got more value than last time, but it's gonna be really, really tough if you're going with the judge. I don't think it's a thing that you can play against Excel that many times.
The thing is, we were memeing about this a couple of days earlier,
I mean,
and I think it all started about hookahs. We are memeing about it, but we're memeing about it in a different light, because this time around it worked. This time around they went equal on the attacking side and had 6-6 in the scoreline. Last time that happened, they had a 10-round losing streak and ended up losing an 11-2 advantage and losing the entire map to go with it when they went into overtime. Right? So this time around, it seems there's logic behind the play. It's not just Bonker deciding judge is my play. He likes playing up close up against smokes, which does deter, for example, their opponent team, which was Hookahs that's last time around, to feel comfortable to move through smokes. They'll always want to step a bit back, and you know, it plays with their psyche, it plays with their mental, and when you're not allowed to play the game that you want to play, it can really put pressure on your opponents, and I think that's what Bonker's focus has been throughout this with this judge usage.
Yeah, something else also that really plays with the psyche and the mental of finalists specifically is the performance of individual players. We highlighted how important Yassine is to the roster, not just in regards of his performance and how far that pushes them in terms of getting those leads, but also his mental. Looking at the statistics of Yassine's performance over the last couple of months, MP, highlight it.
Yeah, I mean, it is great. The ACS is insane, but I think Pavlos had a good point on Yassine. I just want to hear it.
Well, I mean, I've said it time and time again, right? Yassine has to pop off with this team. And even if he's not like killing everybody, he had a standout performance the previous best of 3, 48 kills to 25 deaths.
Yeah.
Insane, right? Hitting the 30 bomb on the second match. What is really interesting about this is that he has energy that radiates off of him. And whether that is positive or negative, it always affects a team. So environment, as they like to call it. So yeah, it's actually very, very important. This person does very, very well. Otherwise, it feels like he's a win or lose contingent, essentially. And I mean, at this level of play, you hate to rely on one singular player, but the amount of gravity this guy's performance has for the rest of the team is just too strong not to mention time and time again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Yassine performing good means that Kix doesn't really have to go for those 4 or 5Ks or 3Ks even. Kix is absolutely popping off as well. But Alive, I think Alive on the other side is really, really great comparison to Yassine. Obviously a different type of duelist, different type of entry. Doesn't really play this race, plays chamber, plays jet. The ACS is through the roof. First blood percentage 18 as well. It's crazy. Heads up percentage 30. And I love how Alive is played on this team. He can definitely solo hold sides with the operator. Maybe not like inside, but take these really heavy hard angles, just controlling that side of the map and then just popping off solo right there.
So I think what's really good about Alive, he's been one of the best duelists to adapt to the new meta of playing with that chamber. He's been instrumental to giving Excel a lot of early space, and he's one of the guys that has done this most successfully throughout all the duelists we've seen in this region.
Yeah, one of the things we highlighted from Finest specifically is the fact that they rely specifically on that one player to do well. They also rely on their mental to be, you know, up in top shape. However, when we're looking at Excel, that's not really the case. Yes, we're highlighting Alive here, but there's still a lot of different players on that roster that are important. Would you say that that could potentially be the breaking point when on this matchup, Finest against Excel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is 100% what I'm scared for Finest, because if Excel comes into this, if Alive has kind of off day, it's all good. You have so much fragging potential. Chihuahua, Patitech, Mo. Oh sure, Chihuahua hasn't been, or Patitech hasn't been that fragging in this playoff stage, but still he's been able to support. He definitely has that fragging potential. We have to look at, back at group stage. Patitech was actually one of the best players statistically on this team to get those kills. So I don't think it's relied on one player, especially on EXO, but on Finest, I feel like you pointed out, I think when Yassine is performing, Finest is really, really good. But when he's not, I think the mental might go on the dark side.
I think what you mentioned earlier, Ginny, about the fact that okay, Alive is very good at his job. I think what we kind of can take from his performance is the fact that he's great at taking space. And I think it's the mentality of a duelist, essentially, in the newly formed meta, especially around Europe, right? Because we kind of still see the duelist being picked up in NA, for example, the Jets flowing in. APAC as well, we've seen a lot of that. But in EU, it seems like there's a current idea that a duelist is made to make space. Even before the meta changes with Astra being dropped in, well, debuffed, essentially, we kind of see that what duelists do, you know, for that Reyna Jet combo when we had over in Icebox, for example, what you need to do is gain space with lower risk by placing a player in deep positions, gain early information, and that's what Alive has been doing really good, and it's something that I want to see more teams kind of taking in this, I guess, tier 2 level of play, right? This is what so many good teams in EMEA have been doing, and the reasons why Fnatic have succeeded, why FPX have succeeded. I'm going to name Team Liquid because they've been one of the pioneers to do this, although they haven't qualified to Masters. I feel like a lot of this meta has been built up of them, and I'm glad that we're seeing the lower teams of this region to kind of follow up from that.
Yeah, and one of the things, again, that's going to impact both of these teams is going to be the map picks, the map veto, the plays that we're going to be taking the viewers and taking everyone onto the server. First of all, it is really important to highlight that Excel came through the upper bracket. They haven't dropped a single map at all, so they do have that one map advantage. But in regards to that map veto, in regards to those picks, MP, what are you expecting to see? You have 2 seconds.
Icebox, maybe? I think Haven ban. I think Finest is going to go for the Haven ban. But no, they are not.
Is this the rap god MP?
They are not going for the Haven ban, and Excel is gonna pick it right instantly, obviously.
Wow.
Excel going for that bind ban. I really like it. They saw like Finest playing a really good bind. Obviously, Excel hasn't played bind that much, so I think it's a really, really reasonable ban. I think this split shows that Finest like, yeah, no, we ain't going in that Reyna territory.
So for this matchup, Icebox is a very, very important one for Finest, considering that if Haven is one, which is most likely considering Excel's performances recently on that map, we'll be looking at them being already 2-0 up due to the map advantage they've already gotten by being in the upper bracket. So Finest seem to be putting a lot of faith in Icebox, which is fairly well placed. They've got good scorelines against it, and it's not the strongest from Excel, but still a tough fight.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a real tough fight. But I think how Excel was able to win Finals last time was really key individual solo performances. Alive dropping 29 kills, Foxing popping off with those clutches as well. They had really interesting stuff, kind of risky plays that worked out in the end. But one of those risky plays not working out, and Finest could have been able to win that Icebox, obviously 13-11. So I see the confidence coming into that map, but I think it could be really, really tough for Finest.
Yeah, I also want to talk about that one map advantage that Excel is going to have. We spoke about Finest, how a lot of the times they drop the first map, come back for that reverse sweep, but we have to take into consideration they've already played 2 games today. Hookars did not give them the easiest of times. There was a fight back. They're already dropping that first map because there is an advantage for Excel. Are you worried that this might actually impact them in a negative way?
Oh, it could. It could. You know, you have to also consider it, right? They've already played this earlier best of 3. But the good thing about Finest is that they play around momentum, right? And the fact that they were able to relatively easily beat out Hookars this time around is a big confidence build-up for them. But essentially, sorry, you know, you've got to mess up words from time to time. But yeah, essentially, this is what's important about Finest. And I think starting off strong on Haven would be very important for them. Even if they do end up losing that map, it mustn't come easy for Excel. Finest need to give it their all.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think there is a dark side as well. You talked about the momentum, that it's a good thing, but it could be really, really bad. We have seen this time and time again from Finest. Yeah. If they lose the first map, that could be really, really crucial. Then we go to Icebox. Yeah, the mental might not be there. And if Excel can get the lead at the start there, I think this could be a very, very fast 2-0. I hope not, because last time around, we saw that 4-mapper. We saw really, really intense ascent at the end, 14-12. So I hope Excel and Finest brings the same stuff here.
Yeah, last time it was incredibly close, and I think Finest, once again, they're looking to cut this pretty close as well. They want to give Excel a run for their money. Yes, Excel has that one map advantage, but Finest looking to close that gap pretty early on. It's going to give them maybe a little bit more of that momentum, which they so much thrive on. But looking at the first map that we're going to be heading to, Pavlos, is there any agent that you are genuinely expecting to see? We said kicks on the KO, absolutely important. Is that still the case here?
Yeah, very much so. KO is a really important pick to kind of deny a lot of the setups they have, especially if you want to have deep positions on the defensive. KO with a simple dagger can just deal with that. And I think it's instrumental, really. Regarding other picks, I don't think I'm expecting them to make any too big key differences to their normal setups, right? We're talking about the grand final. They should be playing their own game. I don't think anti-stratting or coming up with a new strategy can come in a matter of a day or an evening, right? So I don't think we'll be seeing too many surprises in regards to the comps, but if any team is going to maybe switch something up, it could be Excel, due to the fact that they didn't really have to play a game early on today.
Absolutely, yeah. Kicks last time played that breach, but I was saying last time that they should go for the KO. I think Kicks is so good with the KO. But no.
No KO. We're all proven wrong.
They're gonna stick with the bridge. I think that's decent, but I really like the KO in this map. I really like the KO on Kicks. The flashes on KO is so good. I think it's really comparable to Sky as well. I think this bridge is like a little bit far out of Kicks' reign.
I mean, the compositions are pretty much standard. Yes, KO would have been great. Breach is awesome if you kind of consider Killjoy could have been put into play in regards of a lockdown, but no, Rolling Thunders have a big impact on Haven. Overall, I think there's no surprises here. We're looking at a fairly mirror comp. The only difference is that Yassine is on that Raze and Alive is on that Jet, and I'm not quite sure Yassine, well, he's proven ourselves wrong in regards to us being concerned on his Raze, but he's done a fundamentally good job last time around.
For the closing act, this time on Polaris, we have Twiggy and Moxie on the mic. They're going to be walking you guys through it as Excel looking to prove themselves once again, whereas Finest, they're looking for revenge.
If you are looking for the most exciting tournament in Northern Europe right now in Valorant, then you are in the right place. I'm here with Moxie, and we're heading to Bhutan for our first map of XL versus Finest for the Grand Finals of Polaris.
And it's not just the Grand Finals, Twiggy, it is a grudge match. Both of these teams have met where XL sent Finest spiraling down to the lower bracket. They've been able to crawl their way back, claw their way into this series, and they can try and challenge XL for the crown to see whether or not they can deny that back-to-back win from XL, who are going to be starting off on the defense first of all. Alive not making first contact though, being a little bit more passive than we've seen on the Jet before. Instead it's Mo who's going to be going and taking a little bit of a bite from Finest attack.
Luckily not getting killed for it, but now he's in a corner with a paint grenade right in front of him, and there's nothing you can do about that. Snake in the corner. Kicks will take a second kill for the team, and in rush XL from behind. The flank play has come up massive as Foxy takes off the second head of a Finest member. It's a 3v3 now on the sides of Switched. Alive is right quick with the trigger finger, taking down Yassine. Bonka able to get one back for his team, but Alive keeps up the tempo, and it's brought down to a 1v1. Fault line used, and it stuns up Alive. But at this point, Kicks is just playing for time. He doesn't want to show his hand too early. Tagged up a little bit there, and Alive goes for the jump up top. It's not going to work out, but they need to keep peeking. They need to keep tapping the spike. Alive looking for it. He'll go for the half. The shoulder peek from Kicks gives it more time, and he taps it one more. He hits him one more time through the wall. It's all up to this one hit, but Kicks keeps his cool. He'll take the head off of Alive, and that is one way to start out a game.
15 HP, Twiggy! 15 HP! Alive thought that he would be able to go for the full stick, but thankfully Kicks is able to read the Jet's mind and denies it. And we are actually going to be seeing Finest pretty buying in to this next second round, despite having won. And XL are going to actually force onto the Marshall too. Alive is going to be picking that one up a little bit harder to be able to pull off, especially because you're not running on that chamber. So if you do find yourself being stomped on upon by a full force Finest, you don't really have that rendezvous to get out. So look at the resources that XL are having to pump into being able to hold on to A long. It's not just one player sacrifice, it's free.
Well, those two fault lines have done a lot of stunning, and it allows the two teams to come right up into each other. Alive is the only one to get a kill from XL as Finest kind of steamroll their way through this one. The superior weaponry of the team giving them an open passage through into sight here. Chihuahua, last player standing, and with the classic, he'll find his first. He's got to look for more around the corner. A right click from that range isn't quite enough to take Yassine down. They'll get their second round with not too much of a sweat.
Yeah, Finest just brute forcing, booking it all the way into XL's faces, punishing the fact that XL wanted to try and slow that attacking push down so the Marshall could line up those shots in time. However, this is the round that really matters for XL, right? This is the one that they've been waiting for. This is the one where they're going to be going in with a much better buy. Full rifles except for Foxy, who might go for... No, there he is, going for that Vandal. So they do need to be able to hold on to this round. However, if they do lose it, it's not the end of the world. Alive is one pick away from getting that Bladestorm online.
As well as that, we saw it already in the pistol round. They are going to be going for a lot of flanks, I feel like, this game, with no real sentinel apart from that chamber on the side of Finest. If they decide not to go for the site that they take that trademark down towards, it's going to be pretty hard for them to keep a hold of their flank. XL are going to be looking to take advantage of that as much as possible, but for the meantime, Finest make their way into A first time.
They're
no
ready for the flank. Twiggy, they're ready for the flank. XL did this on the pistol. This time, Finest are waiting for it. They've got a crossfire set up.
Destructive is going to be first contact right around the corner, but Alive has already seen his shoulder, and Patatech will be the one to take the head off. Machina just round the corner, Headhunter in hand, but meanwhile, Mo is already doing work on site. It's a perfect stun to give Alive that next kill. Bonkar taking down one on towards site, but he's only got a Sheriff in his hands, and it's not going to be enough to take down Alive. Kicks by himself in hell versus 4 players. He'll take down one with the Guardian, but it's not going to be enough to keep XL at bay. They'll get that defuse, and they'll start off the next phase of the game quite nicely.
Yeah, it's clinical from XL, knowing that Finest just want to push on to that A site, that they're likely going to use that showstopper to open things up. The fact that Destructive actually even TP'd into Sewer to make sure that XL aren't holding close, aren't going to try and go for a little bit of a cheeky pick with Patatech setting up that fault line. But instead, XL play a little bit further back. They want to go for that flank, punish the fact that Finest are going to be stuck on site, and when they have rifles, they don't really have anywhere to hide. And we said it was a run that the defense needed to win. XL show their hand absolutely perfectly, but surely now Finest with the rifles are going to punish if XL allow them onto the site and go for those flank pushes again.
In the meantime, Alive does have his Bladestorm up thanks to all those kills he got in the first couple of rounds. Chihuahua with a couple of tripwires down towards here, doesn't want to let anyone in whatsoever. But he's actually going to leave the site alone and anchor a little further. You can see the team going for more flanks. That trademark is going to find out where the jet is, but now it's Machina's job to try and keep them away. Chihuahua, in the meantime, spraying down from heaven. He'll find the first kill, and he's looking for a couple more, but he's going to get taken down to very low HP. Foxy at Alive's aid, able to carve a path down over through T-spawn there.
Yeah. XL will allow the plant to go through, but they're in position to immediately snap back into it. Chihuahua on 14 HP is going to be wall-banged by Destructive. You've seen us trying to police A long. Will be able to find Alive, but unfortunately won't be able to take him down. The Bladestorm's still going to be in play, as again, Finest are just losing control of this side. Every single time it feels like they've got the spike down is because XL has allowed it.
Well-formulated retake from XL there, putting pressure on from all angles, and each 1v1 was well thought out. Obviously Alive having the Bladestorm, managing to take out the flank watch, but also, you know, Mo forcing Bonkar into a smoke to take him out, the aftershock to force out the final player of Destructive right towards the back of site. Gave them no options whatsoever. Finest were backed into a corner in so many places, 3 corners in fact, and XL took advantage of that perfectly. I think that's going to be a pattern that we see quite often this game.
Well, here's going to be a pattern that we're going to be seeing quite often. Alive is going to be able to buy up into the operator. And on a buy, when Finest are coming in with full Sheriffs and just 1 classic, that's going to be pretty hard. Machina will have the Headhunter, but we already saw in the matchup between Alive and Machina on the round of Haven yesterday, it did tip in Alive's favor just a little bit more frequently, as now Finest are being very cautious. They know that the operator is most likely going to be in play, that Alive is going to be waiting behind one of the doors to these sites. They just have to sneak around, knock on it a couple of times, try and figure out what's behind door number safety.
Well, they're going to be answering with some Sheriffs. Nothing much more than that, a Headhunter in the hands of Machina. But it's going to be a difficult round for them no matter what. But if they can get that operator away from Alive, it's going to be massive. But Alive, he anchors down on A, and he'll find his first pick to make things a little harder for them. He's going to be forced out of his position. That's good, at the very least, for Finest, but they haven't converted it to a kill yet, as Foxy takes down Machina with the Headhunter over towards C. Alive gets his second pick with the operator. Mo anchoring towards short, takes off the head of Bonkar, and it's just kicks left. Nothing they can do. A flawless round for XL.
Yeah, Finest starting to make a couple of slip-ups, right? Bonkar not checking that angle as you come out from short. XL will be able to punish Most, just waiting in the corner, and is able to spray down as soon as you come out of that dark cover. And for Finest, this is something that they have really struggled with in these past 2 days. When things started to go wrong, it did very quickly spiral out of control. And on a round where they are buying into an operator and everyone else coming in on those Vandals, everything has to be communicated absolutely perfectly. Machina has got to be be able to find some impact with this weapon, but Alive once again mixing up positions, making it so hard to be able to predict. However, Yassine still coming off of the high of that 426 AC on the last one is going to be able to pick him out.
Foxy is able to evade all 3 shots from the Hunter's Fury in the meantime on the C site, but has to give up control of long to get away from that one. Destructive is going to contest mid, but Patatek is already there waiting, filling in the gap that Alive left with his corpse. Kix is going to be the one to take back control, but Patatek watching this corner, and Mo with a crossfire, luckily displaced a little bit by Yassine.
Oh no.
But Yassine does not know that Mo is there, and his head is going to be blown to smithereens. Patatek, in the meantime, has picked up that operator, and he's taken down Kix. Looks like anybody on XL can pick up the slack when Alive. Can't quite make it.
Well, they're going to be pushing. It might be a mistake. Machine is still going to try and make this round work with the operator, but they do know that they can try and funnel XL in to those op shots if they're able to get that spike down. But so much time is passing, Twiggy. 35 seconds left. All XL need to really do is start to wait for that spike to go down, use the drone to spot out where the players are and separate them. There's the paranoia, there's the fault line that allows them to come out from Garage, and there's the picks. Finest, I would much rather they've either gone to a different site entirely or tried to save the op.
Well, it seems like XL are completely faultless so far. Even when they lose those opening picks, even when Alive doesn't quite hit his shot, you see him with a bit of a Ferrari peak there. It doesn't seem to matter. Everyone picks up that slack. You see Mo fills in the space.
How did Mo get that deep? They know that he's there. They've spotted him in courtyard. And no one actually checks. Like, you see when he falls out from window, does not check below him. And so Mo is able to find value and charge up that Hunter's Fury, and suddenly finds her in a horrible position where they're onto an eco. Yes, they've got the Rolling Thunder to try and clear one of these sites with the Tour de Force to pair off of it with, but XL can just play back, wait for that retake, and immediately snap into Finest's flank, but they've shown so much capacity to be able to do.
Finest are forced onto an eco once again, and Alive almost takes out one player there, but just about misses. Luckily for the Finest players, they're going to be given a second lease on this attack here. Machina watching down C-Long with the Tour de Force, which is going to be a massive, massive help to the team if Machina can make it work. Machina has had a bit of a tough week in terms of getting frags, but has warmed up into it. And there it is, Machina with the Tour de Force taking out Foxy. First blood going their way. Yassine will make that Sheriff work to good use onto Patatek as well. And now they have a free site and the man advantage.
Yeah, they will be able to get that spike planted. XL going to... Oh, it stopped. Mo, with the shock tap, was able to cancel out the plant. And here comes the Hunter's Fury to delay it even further. Alive has been able to pick out one with the operator all through this. The Cypher Cage has been dropped to allow XL to move on to the site, but Machina with that Tour de Force is still going to be able to find the picks. It is just Alive and Mo still on line for XL. Spike has gone down for Finest. It's going to be pretty hard to allow Alive that space to be able to move, but Mo is going to make it work.
Mo gets one more. Alive is taken down, but the showstopper from Yassine is going to move Mo back well into Garage. He's actually stunned up by the fault line as well, allowing a perfect shot, but it falls between his legs. Somehow Mo is able to find the head. He has another chance to get into this one. There's not much time left on the clock, but if he gets right on top of it right now, he could still get it. It's not going to happen. He's got Kix to deal with as well. And Kix will take advantage of the round. And Finest, they take back what was a full eco.
You know, for a second, if Mo had had more time to get that defuse going, he might have been able to pull out that Rolling Thunder. And Finest would have used Tour de Force and Showstopper and Rolling Thunder on an eco round. And for XL, like, their economy is still, it's not watertight. There are starting to be a couple of holes in the rowboat, but it's still going to be in a good enough standing to allow themselves to full buy into this one and get the operator back into Alive's hands. Something that Finest have shown that they have struggled against, and now they're going for that usual set play fault line to allow them to push either into A-Long or Sewers to try and get past the up, push Alive back in case that's where he sat. But XL are nowhere near. They're allowing Finest to exhaust all of this utility for absolute naught.
Yeah, for the first time in a little while, they are economically challenged, so they're allowing Finest to just take some space and try and play it safely. You don't want to lose too many members, but Mo is looking the wrong way after Destructive used that ult, and that's not going to be very good for them. Well, Destructive is going to be taken out in the end. But now just Bonkar and Machina left. I was going to say Monkar and Bashina, but doesn't quite have the same ring to it. Foxy gets back onto site to the safety of A.
We've been here before, Twiggy. 2 players left, 1 with an operator. And Finest are still wanting to push. Machina's able to find 1. He's still going to try and go for this trade. It's up to the Vandal, but it's not going to be enough. XL will be able to win. They'll be able to keep the operator in Alive's hands, and they've been able to pull it out from Finest. This is maybe looking a little bit rough for the economy of Finest, as once again they're back onto that pistol.
Well, XL seem to keep a hold in the game, even when Finest throw a curveball like that eco round.
Hold on a second, Yassine. That's not your judge.
Hold on a sec.
Come on. Throw it to your teammate.
That's not Bonkar. What's going on here?
We've swapped positions.
It has.
It's like pass the parcel, you know, pass the judge.
Okay. Well, Yassine now in with the double satchel and the judge, just gonna straight plant the spike. You know what? I'm in the right place. Let's get that on the ground.
Board. We're here again, Twiggy.
Oh
We're
boy.
here again.
Here we go. Foxy is going to contest this one, not knowing that Yassine is there with a judge. 1 shot to the chest cavity, and now there is a even bigger cavity there. And he'll just walk forward with the Vandal. It's not going to get any work done. Chihuahua and Alive both get kills for the team. And now XL have control of the site. Finest have no time to get in, especially with that Rolling Thunder. It's sent back their way, but it's not going to do enough to get off the diffuser of Chihuahua. And the smoke is down, and Destructive can't get in. But Machina comes through with a Headhunter. It's not quick enough. Chihuahua takes his head off, and XL have already taken the round.
Yeah, as soon as Finest actually pull away from that site, they allow XL too much control, to be honest with you. They're relying on Yassine to be able to just anchor onto the site and delay long enough that they can set up that really punishing crossfire to stop XL from being able to use all of those angles and initiate with their own Rolling Thunder to be able to catch out all of those players and allow Yassine, who's traded up into that Vandal, to be able to start connecting the spray to those concussives. Unfortunately, Yassine goes down, their anchor is lost on the B, but they're too far away from the B site to be able to actually stop XL from pressing W, finding the space and the opening to use their Rolling Thunder first, and Finest then throw in a Rolling Thunder of their own, a last-ditch effort to try and stop XL, to delay them, so that the players so far away can run on through, but all it does is waste the ult.
Yeah. Now Finest, they call their first time out of the grand finals here. They've been in this situation before. They came up against XL once in the upper bracket semi-finals, and it did not work out very well for them. XL beat them out 2-0 in pretty, what would we call it, convincing fashion, let's say. And now, XL, obviously, with the upper bracket advantage, they only have to win 2 more maps. A 2-0 is still very possible here, and Finest are looking straight down the barrel of a repeat of what happened yesterday, and I don't think anybody wants to see that whatsoever.
They need to start coming in with these first bloods. They need to make sure that they're actually able to reduce the numbers from XL, because XL are, remember, defending on Haven, which is unique mechanic, is like the defenders are always going to be short-handed, because there are 3 sites and there are 5 players. You don't need to have a degree in maths to know that you're always going to be at a numbers disadvantage if Finest decide to go for these sites as a full stack. But they've never been able to find the opening. XL have been so good when these rounds begin at hiding themselves away, just like what Chihuahua is doing right now, making sure that with that camera you're going to get a lot of information on whether or not you're about to be pressured out from A long, and then the rest of your team, like say Patatech, who's waiting in the wings, can use that fault line not at the start of the round into lobby, but right then if you're being pressured so that you can jump out and get those picks.
Well, now Finest slowing it down almost to a snail's pace. Actually, slower than a snail's pace. Destructive has not moved any. Oh, okay. Well, he's moved about 2 inches in the past, what, minute? Somewhere around there.
A little bit faster than a snail.
Yeah, slightly. I mean, like, if we're judging by, you know, like, overall size of the person and movement,
Galapagos
definitely slower.
Tortoise.
Yeah, sure, that works. Chihuahua in the corner is ready for Destructive to come round here, and he's going to take full advantage. That's a perfect flash from Patatech to give them 2 free kills. No bothers whatsoever. Yassine comes around the corner. He'll satchel himself in and still find the kill. Bonkar to his rescue as well, but Patatech is there to clean up the mess. Machina is the last man standing. Takes out Foxy, but he still has a lot of work to do. Rushes straight through the aftershock and gets killed by it. What were you doing, Machina?
Oh, no. Oh, no. That timing was ever so slightly skew-iff there, Twiggy.
He committed.
I mean,
I've got to give the man credit. He
you
committed.
got hit by both butts of the aftershock.
Yeah.
The initial and the second one, we're going to see it in replay. I mean, this is beautiful, right? This is the exact set play that we were talking about, where Chihuahua is acting with that camera, making sure that you're in position to be able to capitalize off of Patatek's utility push, and then there's
He had enough time to react to that, I'm not going to lie.
He did.
Yeah,
he
I think that's what we call an unforced error here in the esports community.
Yeah. And XL starting to lengthen up that distance. Finest once again going to be on a really broken by everything is now going to fall to Machina. Sees the little tip of a Sova cloak. Won't be able to line the shot up. However, this is all just a distraction. This is the first time that Finest are actually trying to fake onto one of these sites and take advantage of the fact that they have 3 times the site to be able to play around with.
That's a hit through the wall for Machina. Better than the first shot with that tour de force, but still not enough to move Mo out of the way. In the meantime, you've seen the entry fragger for Finest has already been taken down. Now they're reduced to their 2 initiators, their Smoker and, of course, their Chamber, who I guess you could call a duelist, but definitely not an entry fragger.
Foxy is just going to be waiting in backside too with that Vandal.
Oh, Machina.
Yeah, Finest.
You know what? While stunned, that no-scope was pretty impressive.
Here's the danger. They aftershock the wrong space. The paranoia missed Foxy.
Oh, it's a good flash, but is it enough for them to get into sight? No, it is not. Chihuahua is able to keep himself alive long enough to get those kills, and he'll get a 3rd for himself, making it a flawless defense once again for XL. 8th round now in the defensive half, and it's not looking too amazing for Finest here in the first map of the series. Of course, this is still XL's map pick.
Yeah, Finest are finding it really hard when these rounds begin because XL aren't playing in the default positions you would expect a defense to play off of, right? Especially not a team that goes as aggressive as XL as we've seen, because they're making sure they're not in position to be caught out by kicks. So you can't use the fault line, you can't use the flashpoint, and you can't even use the aftershock to be able to set yourself up so that either your Chamber or your Raze can find any value, any easy entry. There's the fault line coming on through. It will be able to set the op shot up, but there's the Hunter's Fury immediately coming through. This is already 2 ults burned from Finest just so they can secure anything from the C site. You're seeing this all the way up in Garage. Might not be expecting Chihuahua to come out from behind.
Well, that is a lot of ults committed. Now Mo's going to bring out one of his own. It does stop Finest from planting the spike, but not for long. Chihuahua gets his first pick, but Kix is there with the trade. And Alive can't get anything done from behind with Machina watching the flank with an operator. Patatek has the Odin in hand. Now, how much work are you going to be able to do with that on a retake? Not much while you're paranoid up. Mo is going to be the one to head the charge. Hits Machina in the head, has to back up after a good blind from Kix. There's still a lot of work to do and not much time left to do it. Kix and Bonkar peek at the same time. He'll find Bonkar, but not Kix. It is Patatek left with the Odin in hand in a 1v2. He's won a few of these before. He's looking for it, almost finds the spray. The Odin is a cruel mistress when you are spraying at 2 members of the opposing team, and Destructive capitalizes off of that just in the nick of time.
It's those little hiccups, right? That goes to show how pressured Finest is feeling. The way that they know that there's an Odin online, they know that it's still in play, and look at how they position. That was so close to either being a collateral or just going for that spray kill, and Finest would have lost the round. As it is, it's coming in 8-4 on the half, as now Finest going to be over onto that defense. This is where we need to see both Yassine and Machina being the ones to come in with those first bloods, having the confidence to be able to challenge XL for this space.
There aren't many moments in Valorant that I've gone RNG. But Patatek did draw an outline there with the Odin of Destructive, and it didn't quite work out. Yassine, with an aggressive peek from the garage there, is able to find 1 pick and a second onto Mo before Alive can cut him out. Kix is now holding that area, but Machina, in the meantime, has already found one. The corner check is there, but a little late. Alive is able to get 2 with the Frenzy, however, getting 3 for himself, and now Finest have to rotate all the way over, and XL have C site to themselves.
Oh, it is just Destructive and Bonka. 1 Frenzy, 1 Classic, but XL do have site control They can try and cut these players off. Bonka's going to be able to find one and the second with the Frenzy. And the defuse will be there. It's going to go to the Sova so they can try and get that Hunter's Fury charged up as quickly as possible. And we are now seeing a confident Finest, right? They were going forward. They were challenging XL for space. They weren't just allowing them to simply move on their way. And they were coming in with those first bloods, those contacts. And they were able to punish XL, who have really been showing their hand when they go for these pistol pushes.
Yeah, that is the finest pistol round that we
oh,
see
no,
quite
Twiggy,
often.
here it comes.
Oh boy.
It's the finest pistol round that we see quite often, and then it is the immediate force into the rifle buy that we see just as often.
2 rifles this time, not as bad as the 3 we saw a couple days ago.
Yeah, but still, if they lose this round, they're giving not only the rifles to XL, so the bonus could potentially be huge, but their economy is going to be gutted for the round after.
Yeah. Well, it's a heavy default for them as XL rush their way towards C. Alive is just going to move him straight past the aftershock. Unlike Machina, he is not going to be hit by either of those. Chihuahua holding down in Garage, and he'll find the first pick. Nose kicks is right round the corner here as well, and that is a couple of important weapons taken out. One of them is a Vandal. You're seen with the last Vandal of the team. He'll take down 2 with it. A nice spray control, but he gets out the boom bot, and Alive fully capitalizes off of that situation. Destructive is next to come in, hits a headshot onto Alive, but it's not enough to get the kill. Bonka, the only member remaining, fires his recon dart in, but cannot find the spray onto Alive to get the kill, and XL win their force.
Yeah, so for Finest, coming in on that buy, you expect them to stand their ground, right? You would expect them to have an eye line onto C long so that one of those Vandals can begin to spray through, so that even when XL throws up all of these smokes, they do get hit by the bullets. You do enough chip damage that if there are remaining members of Finest waiting in the wings, you can all just jump on out. But they gave up so much space. You're going to see it in the replay. Right now, no one is on C-Long. Everyone from Finest has to converge, either from Connector or Link. And yeah, you're able to see Yassine come in with 2. But at the end of the day, you've sidelined yourselves from the fight. The Vandals aren't getting the spray that they need. You've lost, and now you're coming in on this type of fight where you're on the SMGs, and XL is still running the Vandals that you yourself dropped.
And in fact, Alive has kept this round simple with a Blade Storm. He'll take down 1, Kicks is there with a Stinger trade. But Foxy gets involved to find 2 heads. And now the last 2 remaining members of Finest have a tough task ahead of them, up against 2 of their own Vandals. Machina will take down Foxy, who takes a rather hopeful little shoulder pick there. Patatek will capitalize off of Machina. Watching the wrong direction though, and Mo finishes it out. Pretty simple for XL. No real sweat, I don't think.
Finest are definitely beginning to sweat. They are going to be feeling the ramifications of that force for a good couple of rounds. In fact, that could actually have lost them this entire map, because now they're going to have to go back onto the eco. XL could potentially put themselves onto 11 points. If Finest full buy in when XL is sitting on 11, they're going to be in a position where they have to force on match point for XL. Either the showstopper or Machina coming in with this tour de force has to be massive, has to have an impact. You have to get at least 2 kills with these ultimates.
Well, Machina was doing well with the tour de force earlier on. Destructive walks straight into his own smoke and will be taken advantage of there. Quite literally, Yassine taking down Alive. Makes it even. But XL have got into sight. They have got that spike down. That Hunter's Fury is a little bit late. It's not going to get anything done. Nobody's in towards that side of sight. And Patatek is aggressively taking control of Garage, clearing corners. He'll see that Headhunter. He holds it very far out, Machina. And they'll be completely demolished there. The last 3 remaining members of Finest all congregated in CT. And Chihuahua comes in from behind. He'll take off the back of Kicks' head. And then Foxy and Patatek, they come through as well. And it's all looking very, very patchy from Finest with 2 rounds left in their buffer.
The staple Chihuahua flank. If you don't know where that Cypher is, if he's not popping up on his site or in the kill feed, he's going to be popping up from behind you at any moment, and XL will be able to make it work. They take control of site very quickly, and then they push into Garage, making sure that Yassine with that showstopper can't come through and contest and put up the distraction that Finest need for the rest of their forces to congregate onto that side. And it is going to be a full buy for Finest into this round. This round is going to determine whether or not we see more rounds of Haven.
In comes Alive, straight into his own smoke. And that's mutual destruction there, as Alive will take out Yassine, but Yassine is ready with the showstopper. Machina gets an impactful kill onto Mo through mid there, but Foxy, you're going to need to use that ult. You're going to need to get out of the way. The Aftershock forces him back over into mid, and in come the rest of the team. Finest have kicks in the back of the site. He'll take the head off of Chihuahua, and they delay their inevitable demise. Well, maybe not inevitable, who knows, but the way it's shaping up, looking a bit inevitable. As XL, they even things up once again. Bonkar comes in from behind, but he can't find the critical shots to get the kill. Patitech staring him down.
Here
No
comes
kill comes through as XL rush their way through into C, right into the waiting arms of Destructive. The one way is already up, and they'll just spray him down one by one. Finest get a very important round and make it 11-6.
Beautiful coming out from Destructive on a round that they needed to win, but Twiggy, unfortunately, they did not manage to pick up the operator.
They did.
It is a shame. The operator died a little bit too far away from the remaining members of Finest. And so despite taking the round, they're still going to be on rough terms of economy. XL, on the other hand, despite losing all of their members, can full pie once more, and they've got the Rolling Thunder. So now Finest are faced with a really tough decision. Do you hold close and try and cut XL off before they get onto the site and risk going into the Rolling Thunder and losing as soon as the round begins? Or do you play for retake and hope all of your members are alive? But they've already lost Yassine.
Yeah, they've gone with the third option of push through Garage and die, which has allowed Yassine to be completely taken out. Bonkar's in the owl drone and Alive takes his head off. He'll find the second onto Destructive and he's made his way through into A. He's cleared it for his team and he's got a lot of time to play with. As Machina comes around the corner and will take out Chihuahua with the tour de force. Didn't see that one coming. Alive onto Kicks now, and he's cleared all the way through that side of the map. Absolutely no mercy whatsoever. Machina, the last player standing, has got 1 kill to his name with this tour de force. Needs to find 4 more if he wants to win the round. Patitech is right next to him, but he's on the ground now, and there's 3 players left. He has a Vandal as well, but there's little time to work with.
I mean, XL don't even need to push this. They've got the spike. It's been down in the ground for a good while. Machina has a Vandal, but also the tour de force. And tour de force will evaporate once the round ends, but Vandal will not unless you die. So he is going to choose to save it. And we did say one of the things that we were concerned about for Finest is that when things do go wrong, that communication does tend to break down. And it was definitely highlighted when Bonkar is in drone form and Destructive, who I'm sure he was trusting to watch his back to make sure he doesn't actually get caught out and pushed in that one, is not watching ramps. And so he is just whammed in the head from behind. It's so brutal.
Yeah.
Alive could actually have just waltzed up, knifed him in the back, and Destructive would have been none the wiser.
And these are small errors that are
stacking up
massively, leading to a big lapse in judgment, a big lack of rounds for the team, as they're now facing down XL on match point of the first map of this series, which would take it to map point as well. Machina is going to be the one to anchor down mid. Bonkar trying to hold down A long. Machina gets his first pick and Rendezvous out of there with a little 5 HP remaining. And XL have to reset their sights towards a different part of the map. Except Patitech, he wants more. He's hungry for blood after having his teammate completely demolished. But he's going to back up in the end.
Oh, they're trying to push towards B to bait out Finest into throwing in that Rolling Thunder. It's the one thing that can stop XL in their tracks, and we've already seen the Breaches will both use the ultimate at the same time to try and mitigate the impact of the others. As XL, at the moment, slowing things down, being a little bit more hesitant than we've seen, wanting to get the read on where Finest are going to be holding, so that they can know where those players are, how close they're going to be, if they can break down that communication even more to isolate these fights and take advantage of the chaos.
They've anchored themselves into very advantageous locations in the map, but they still need to work with all of that. You can see Finest opting to play more of a retake situation on A. Take more presence over towards C and B, but in comes that B push. Machina doesn't need more health than that 5. He'll take off the head of Mo no matter what you bring at him. Patitech has to back off of mid, and they are going to put all their eggs in the A basket. Bonkar is ready for it. He'll jump around the corner, luckily enough, not get taken out by Alive. In the meantime, he's fully aware that Alive can jump up there, and he'll send out a shock dart. There's not much time remaining in the round, but Chihuahua is just going to take as much space as possible. Alive gets on the board. Chihuahua gets his third. They're looking for this one. They've got the plant down, and now Kicks has to bring it all back from the death. The aftershock right in front of him. He's going to have to give them this plant. He's going to have to retake 1v3. Alive is there waiting for him, and XL take the map 13-6.
What a way to finish this off. Chihuahua and Alive absolutely online in that last round. Oh my goodness, what was that?
Yeah, what was that? I think Finest, they don't fear the death, they fear the alive. That was crazy.
Wow, love that, love that, love that.
well,
But
we're
what I
gonna-
loved even more was Excel in that match. There were so many good aspects to that gameplay. I want to break it all down, but my reaction, just to start things off, was that this game was insane.
Yeah, and what was that last round? How was they able to do, I think it was 2 versus 5 or 2 versus 4. Anyway, that was crazy. Chihuahua just popping off, Alive getting 1 piece there, 1 piece here. And I think that was kind of the name of the game. After Excel got onto that attacking side, got that comfortable lead, they were like, okay, we are so confident right now. Alive pushing alone on these A sides, A lurks as well.
I love that you mentioned Alive, right? Because he's been so influential in getting those first picks and finding the openings for Excel. But there was another aspect on the defense that allowed this team to shine. Their push and pull. A lot of the times they were able to create some early spaces, on a lot of the extremities, that when they retreated, baited Finest in, and often were able to find the better trades. It was beautiful to witness.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that from Excel. And I think Excel's attacking side kind of maybe reminisces of FPX, at least the old FPX. They kind of go for this attacking, really aggressive picks. And if they don't find it, they might go for these passive lurks or one of these go around for the flank. And we saw Alive do that time and time again, just lurking alone, A long, A sewers, finding every time some kind of value.
Yeah, Alive and Chihuahua did so much in that last round, closing it out, but every single one on the team was just on something else. They were on a whole nother level. 13-6 for Excel on this map, putting them 2-0 in this best of 5. MVP Alive as highlights. I think this is what we expected.
Did Alive know that we highlighted him in the pre-game? Right?
Maybe.
Did Alive know? Because we all know that every single one of these players has a clutch factor, but Alive just felt different this game. He just felt enabled.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how the other players popped off as well. Patitek, I feel like he has been having some troubles of finding kills here. Obviously, you are that bridge. You don't need the kills as long as you support your duelist. But he definitely has that fragging potential. Finding those kills, 3.0 KDA is actually amazing. Means that he has been able to support so many times, but he has been able to get those kills as well.
Yeah, speaking about being able to support, there were a lot of rounds specifically where Alive was the one initiating, using the smoke to hide himself for a bit, and then Patitek just with that perfect flash, it gives Alive that opportunity to go out and get a couple of picks. This is what we expected to see from Excel, right? We said it before when they were playing against Finest yesterday. That's when we saw a bit of a step up in terms of their gameplay against Kova. It wasn't really what we expected. So as we're going to be heading into Icebox, Pavlos, how's it looking for Finest?
For Finest, I don't think it's all means to an end right now. I think Icebox can be a hope for them. It can be a map where they can feel more comfortable and maybe get themselves a win in the bag. But at that, we'd probably be looking at a reverse sweep, right? We'll probably be looking at a fact that they have to get 3 maps in a row. That's where I'm concerned, right? It kind of feels that Excel will be able to win this. It's not a when, it's not if, it's a when.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we look at those set plays that we had from Excel on this map, and when we go to Fracture, that is so essential right there. You have to go for those set plays. You have to go for those aggressive picks. Sure, they were looking good. Finest was looking good in Fracture against Who Cars. But this is Excel. This is not Who Cars. This is Excel who has been on top of this group stage, on top of this Polaris the whole time, playoffs, just dominating. And I think they have something in the sleeve as well. You cannot really abuse that KO against Excel's team. I feel like that is one of the things in this level that you might be able to abuse the KO. Yeah, sure, you can find value. You can maybe deny some Sova drones and stuff, but you cannot use it overpowering.
Yeah, Excel yet to lose a map here at playoffs. So we're going to be heading into the second map, which is going to be Icebox after Excel's pretty confident win on Haven. 13-6. We'll be back after a break with the second map of the series, so don't go anywhere.
Spike down. 1 enemy remaining. 30 seconds left. Flawless. Headshot. 1 enemy remaining. My eyes are 10 seconds left.
Yeah, Wally. Wally. Wally.
No, 100% Wally. I love him to death. He's not toxic with the he's not toxic with us. He's toxic in rank, but he's 100% most toxic.
Yeah.
It's probably beating G2 on Ascent, 13-5. It was one of my first big officials. I remember feeling it feeling really good, so it has to be that.
I didn't plant the bomb on Split.
That's a good one.
We were playing Split overtime. It was a brawl, and yeah, we did some last second go plant the bomb calls, and time ran out, and I just jumped in bed crying, man. I think that would have changed a lot if we won that game, actually. So
yeah.
Instead, they got the free ride, so it is what it is. That's why we're still trying to get that championship title, so we can erase that one,
I think being open-minded is a key part of improving as a player, because this game is ever-changing, right? If you're locked in one way of playing, one way of thinking about the game, then I think you will not come far.
Something very important to going pro is learning to improve, because it's not as simple as just playing ranked and grinding the game. That's you'll get far, but you won't get to the top. Like Cider said, it's very important that you learn to talk as a team.
Me, 100%. Back when I used IGL, I forgot it every round. I would always forget either armor, my shotgun, everything, every round.
Intentional throwing. Yeah. Nah, I mean, it's not intentional throwing, it's more of a check out and doesn't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
Better old teammate John, he used to have all sorts of issues with his PC, but other than that, we're usually fine.